What's up, everybody? This is Kieran Reese, otherwise known as the Obsessive Compulsive Gamer, the O.C.G. And if you know anything about me, you'll know that I really like JRPGs. I have a special spot in my heart for Japanese role-playing games. And I'm a huge fan of Chrono Cross and Chrono Trigger. Especially Chrono Cross, because I feel like it's underappreciated. So I was really excited when they announced that they were going to do a remaster for it. Unfortunately, that remaster came out, and it had massive problems. It was terrible. And then, after 7 or 8 months, when it seemed like nothing would ever change and it would stay broken forever, they fixed it out of the blue, and I just had to make a video about it. Now, before we get into this, please, if you would, like, comment, and subscribe. It costs you nothing, it makes my day, and it helps me do this. That being said, let's get into this. For starters, let's do a quick recap of my problems with it and the issues. I actually recorded a clip a couple months ago when it was still messed up, and it sums up my thoughts pretty succinctly. And then, every so often, you get that rare remaster that makes the game worse. Exhibit A, Chrono Cross. This is a game that a lot of people, myself included, have a lot of love for. And Square Enix took forever to remaster it only to really fucking botch it. Namely, the AI upscaling job they did was really poor. And most importantly, it runs worse than the PS1 original. How the fuck do you make a game on PS5 that makes little to no changes run worse than a game on PS1? There's like a 10,000 time power differential between those generations. Okay? And it's been like 6 months now since this fucking released, and they had to release a single patch to fix it. Not one. Okay? I ultimately bought it because you can play it with the original settings, and it's the only modern way to play it, and I still love it. But fuck Square Enix for doing that, and it's terrible. So, as you can see, it clearly had a lot of problems. Past me thought so. But they have fixed just about every issue, and I'm immensely impressed. I thought it was never coming. I mean, first of all, there's the elephant in the room, the frame rate. The frame rate in the original game could chug hardcore in any intensive places or when you have multiple party members around because they would follow you on the screen. Now, this was honestly par for the course for PS1, but it still wasn't ideal, and it was something you hoped they would fix. And it could man. And then the remaster had a worse frame rate. I am genuinely happy to say that the frame rate has been tremendously improved. Not only does it now match the original's frame rate, it actually completely supersedes it. In my experience, walking around the field, even with the max party out, it now runs at a locked 30 frames per second. It is now wholly smooth, which is not what it was in the original game. And honestly, that alone is just such a great improvement. Oh man. Just to be able to play it and not run at like 15 frames a second, and I'm not kidding about that, is a godsend. Even in places like Chrono, which always hammered the original game's frame rate, this runs at a locked 30. I have not been able to get any slowdown, and I don't think there will be any, because like I said, this was worst case scenario. So if worst case scenario doesn't lag at all, I don't think the rest of the main areas are going to lag. So, it is so much better. It's like playing in not slow motion for the first time. You can directly compare this to my old footage and see where it is 1,000 times better than it used to be. Where it was almost like in slow motion before, now it's amazing. What's even more impressive though, is that while the game is now at a smooth 30 in the field, battles are now at a flawless 60 frames per second. I absolutely love this. Now you might ask yourself, why 30 in the field, why 60 outside? Well, it has to do a lot of the time with game logic. The Square games always operated with different frame rates in battle and out of battle. So yeah, but at the end of the day, the battles were the ones that had a heavy real-time element and required you to be fast, so they were the ones that needed the frame rate anyway. This frame rate makes a lot of difference here because unlike a lot of its contemporaries, Chrono Cross had a lot of real-time components to its battle system, with you having to select combos mid-combo and switch up attacks and interrupt other enemies' turns. It's not purely turn-based, so that extra fluidity really helps you with your timing and your combos, and it looks smooth as hell. I'm a big fan. In the title screen for Chrono Cross, which was notorious for being one of the most beautiful title screens ever, it still actually really is artistically amazing. Now runs at 60 frames per second. I mean, that wasn't even necessary, but it was fucking awesome. And honestly, just watching the water and the fishes under the waves, it is serene, and it's awesome. Ah, man, and it's just great. And the frame rate not being so awful anymore honestly clears the way for you to notice the other improvements that this game has made that you probably wouldn't have. Namely, the AI upscaling, which I think has actually been improved. So I edited together some footage showing you what the original game looks like and what the AI upscale footage looks like. And honestly, it's a huge improvement. I mean, it was never the worst before. I was kind of harsh on it, as you may have seen, just because I was so pissed off by how poorly it ran and, you know, the issues. But I think they've improved it, and honestly, I think it looks a lot better now. I mean, the original looked good for its time, beautiful for its time even. But I mean, this, the remaster, looks amazing on modern displays, which is what people are going to be playing it on. I mean, it looks awesome. Just outstanding. And the improvements don't end there, because they made a substantial amount of improvements in other areas too. Like, for example, the character models. Here's what the original character models look like. I mean, once again, great for the time, but super low poly now. He doesn't even have proper hands. He's rocking the San Andreas O.G. look. And then we have the remaster. And obviously it doesn't look like a brand new modern game. It wouldn't really fit in with the art style, but it is much, much cleaner, much crisper, and much more detailed. And on top of that, I mean, he actually has gloves that aren't just painted on textures on his hands. Please be! I've always thought that out of all these PlayStation 1 JRPGs, that Chrono Cross held up incredibly well anyway, because of how beautiful it was and its incredibly colorful and unique aesthetic. But this remaster, which I can now finally say remaster without, you know, honestly kicks it up by 10 notches. And I think it looks beautiful now. It really brings out the original artistic vision. And this is kind of what the remaster always should have been. You know, they say all's well that ends well, and while it sucks that it didn't launch in this state, I'm really happy that it got to this place in the end. Hell, even the text in the game has been completely remastered. I mean, it was never illegible before, but it definitely looks pixelated now. Now, as you're about to see, it looks super crisp and super clean, which, you know, is important because in a JRPG like this, you're gonna spend a lot of time in menus and looking at menus. And now, while footage comparing the two plays in the background, I'm gonna give you guys my final thoughts on this game. It's amazing. Chrono Cross never got the attention it deserved. It came out and people immediately disliked it because it wasn't Chrono Trigger 2. While it kept the spirit of Chrono Trigger alive, it was very much its own thing, and a lot of people didn't like it for that. But if you judge it on its own merits, and you absolutely should, it is an absolutely phenomenal JRPG. A wonderful story, a beautiful world, a colorful cast full of characters, and it was one of the early examples of decision-making and branching paths. See, this game has like 45 party members, unheard of party members. for a game like this, but you can only get like half of them in a single playthrough. And that's because this game has a shit ton of branching paths. Like, a lot. And these branching paths aren't just slightly different. They're vastly different areas. There's massive sections of this game you'll never go into in a single playthrough. Because you go choose one path. So if you choose, let's say you choose path A, you go to a totally different area than path B. This game is truly a game that encourages multiple playthroughs, and in New Game Plus allows you to go through and get all of the party members available to you in one file. On top of that, the game has an amazing battle system, which I talked about earlier, a great plot full of awesome twists that you won't see coming, and an absolutely bonker soundtrack. Now, I thought about muting the soundtrack, because I might get copy struck, but this is so integral to this game that just putting it in silent footage just feels weird. And I wouldn't have recommended this remaster originally unless you were a diehard fan, which I was. But I absolutely recommend this remaster now. It is absolutely fantastic. It is what it always should have been, and it is the definitive way to play a bona fide classic. If you like RPGs, if you like JRPGs, then Chrono Cross at $20 is a certified steal. And I'm so glad that they were able to finally fix it, because honestly it was close to a year with no patch, no word on a patch, and I didn't think they were ever going to fix it, and then they just surprise dropped it. Now, if you're playing this on Switch, wait. They haven't dropped the patch on Switch yet, but they already have on Xbox and PlayStation and the other platforms. So, I strongly recommend that you play this game. It is a one-of-a-kind RPG. We're probably never going to get another game like this, and it will leave an impression. Now, with that being said, I'm Kieran Reese, the O.C.G., the Obsessive Compulsive Gamer, and if you would, once again, I'm reminding you to please like, comment, and subscribe, because it makes my day. It costs you nothing. It helps keep this fine head shaved, and I just need the help. That being said, play this game. Play it. Peace. Oh yeah, P.S. I am currently working on my Patreon stuff, and we're going to get to that very quickly. We're going to make another video about that really soon. I'm just kind of hashing out the final details before I make a big video about it. Okay? So, now, I'm really leaving. Have a great day.